Check. First one.
Hey Andrew,
Going
can you hear
on?
me? Good man, good. Thank you.
Yeah. Am I first? Let's
No,
start
no.
in 2 minutes. No one's here yet.
Yeah, I think I am. You are at number two. I'll start.
Yeesh.
Yes.
All
We
right.
already have 18 participants. Nice. Maybe half of them are from my team. At least
Nice.
I can see one, two, three. Huh.
Interesting.
Do you do this often? I think I've seen you around, like in multiple of these
Yeah,
webinars.
I do a lot of these.
You do a lot of these.
Yeah, it's exhausting sometimes.
It's exhausting. And do you get results?
Hmm?
Do you get results from these? Hey, Christian.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Depends. Hey
Okay.
Christian, what's going on,
Hi
buddy?
there. Doing good. Excited to
Yeah, some of
join.
them are better than others, but you know, I also like it for the content.
All right. Okay. So, Christian, I don't have you on the roster. Uh, James.
Should be autopilot.
No, I don't have you on the list of speakers. Let me just ping Pavel and check. Sorry, I'll just quickly check.
What's up, everyone?
Yep, I think. Hey,
Guys,
Going on,
Hello.
gentlemen?
Andrew, I don't know if you remember me, but we spent time, I think, in New York a year and a half ago, give or take, with Drew Hall, Quartile.
Oh, yeah. Well, at in New York
Oh,
at
no, was it Philly? Was it the Philly we work? That might have been it.
oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about now. That was a good time. That was funny.
Yeah,
That was
blast
an
from the
interesting
past.
day. Yeah. You're not still a quartile.
No, I am not. I am not.
Okay. I didn't think so. I didn't look at the whole list yet. Apologies.
what's up, team?
Hey,
What's up?
Andrew, good to see
Hey,
you.
good seeing you too. How's everyone doing?
Doing
Good.
good,
pretty
doing good.
good.
I think I'm meeting all you guys for the first time. I think you guys all know each other already, but
Webinar circuit.
yeah, Andrew, I think I've seen you on so many webinars. Andrew Math, I know there's two Andrews here, but it's good to meet
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. I think I'm on too many of these.
you.
Right.
But if they work, they work.
Right. So I don't do these enough. I think probably like once a quarter, but I think I should ramp it up.
If they work, man. I say lean into it.
I think we'll probably wait for a few more minutes. We already have 40 attendees. Nice.
You said we had like 300 plus
Yeah.
registrants?
Yes.
Okay. Not too bad. Cool, 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 cool. Are we live? Are we doing this?
I have no idea. I'm using this tool for the first time for webinars. I think we should be live.
Sweet.
Yeah, 100%. I'm using this tool for
I see
webinars.
someone's
So
asking questions, so I think we are live.
yeah,
Nice.
I did answer as well. We can hear you. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. People can hear us. Awesome. So yeah, I think welcome everyone. We have 46 attendees. We'll wait maybe for a couple more minutes, right, before we start. The format would be very simple. I think 10 minutes each, right? At the eighth minute mark, I'll just quickly remind uh, all the panelists, right? And then there are like nine of us, so probably we should wrap it up in like 90 minutes, 1.5 hours. Super excited. Uh, I've been participant in some of these, but I think this is the first time we are hosting it. So fingers crossed. Uh, right, and I think the topic of this webinar is also, I think, which is a lot being talked about at the moment, right? We do hear a lot of noise around AI, right? And I think there's a lot of noise, right, and a lot less actionable insights in the market, as especially for the domain which we all are, right? E-commerce, right? How do you use AI in e-commerce? So I think that's where we have like eight, nine of us giving each of like giving like small insight or like a small use case for from each one of us.
Hey, hi Akash. Hey, hi everyone. Sorry I joined a minute late.
No worries,
Hi,
Ben.
Mathew.
Cool. So we'll probably wait one last minute and then I think we should start. Perfect. All right. So I think I'm the first. I'll quickly go. Right. So we at SellerMate, it is basically like an AI powered white box Amazon PPC software. Right. We do have like a ton of capabilities, but today uh, I'll mostly talk about one of our most recent capability, which we call SellerMate bot, which is basically like an AI agent, which has access to all of your Amazon ads data, your retail analytics data. It has the ability to even scrape ASINs reviews, and then you can basically ask it any sort of questions you want, right? So I'll quickly start by sharing my screen. One second. I have too many screens. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect, perfect. So this is what like a fully set up seller made dashboard looks like. This is our home page, right? And then okay, let's quickly remove this. Right, and then we have like ton of capabilities. We have automations, bulk campaign management, and whatnot. All right, but today I especially wanted to talk about our bot product. Right, so what I'll quickly do is, well, I'll copy a prompt, right? Which is basically it talks about say I have an Amazon Ads account and I want to say focus on campaign performance and target quality, right? And gives me like a detailed analysis with health score for my data, right? So let's quickly type in the query, and we do have like two modes where the agent mode is more like a deep thinking mode, and deep research mode is a more deeper, which it takes longer and does more analysis, right? We have put in a ton of efforts to make sure it doesn't hallucinate. Because I think anyone who has used say Claude or ChatGPT by uploading their files, you end up realizing if your files are too large or you have like a ton of data, it ends up hallucinating. So we have taken care of a lot of those challenges. Uh, right. So it does take like 4 or 5 minutes. So meanwhile, while it is doing its work, I'll show you the other use cases as well. Uh, Right, so it has access to your data. What it will do is depending on the query, and then it basically fetches your data, uh, analyzes it, and then gives you result. So I think it is doing its magic. I did run a similar query on another demo account, right? So this is basically like what it will do. It will create like a quick plan, right? And then since it has access to your data, it will start fetching your data. It will say in this case, it does with a campaign data, more of the campaign data. It looks at all the matrices, and then it finally starts giving you the result, right? So it's giving you, say, your overall efficiencies, and then trend over time, performance by ad type, right? And this is basically tailored to your account. It's taking data from your account, giving you the real numbers, right? And at the end of the day, it's also giving you the optimization opportunities. Right now, it is looking at more data. So it does like a very deep analysis, right? So imagine, say, if you're a freelancer or an agency, right? You onboard a new client, you want to do an analysis. You'll probably spend probably a couple of hours in just reviewing the account. Instead of that, you give it to SellerBot. It will do like a high level analysis for you, right? And then you basically spend 30 minutes fine tuning it and basically presenting it, right? So so finally now, like a health score, and then your actionable insights, what it's asking you to do. So this is one of the use case. Similarly, what you can also do is maybe don't give it a very generic prompt, right? Ask it to do like an executive summary. Uh, so basically, all sort of data analysis you can do. Let me just go at the final result. Basically now again the top opportunities from your own account. All right, so this is like an Amazon PPC you have manager you have with you. So not just this, it also has the access, the ability to scrape uh, your listing, your competitor listing, anyone's listing, right? So usually say if you have to do something like this, if you go on YouTube, you'll probably find like NA10 workflows, which are like pretty complex. All right, multiple steps, they're very technical. You'll probably have to set up Airtable, Appify for scraping, then NA10, connect all of these, get get open router or maybe chat GPT API keys, integrate all of the debug it, right? But instead of this, if you have to do it in SellerMate, you just write like a query saying I want to review, uh, analyze my customers' reviews, right? So it goes to the page, it has the ability to scrape all of that data, it will do it for you. This was a generic, very generic, we didn't specify the number of reviews. So by default, it takes top 20, but you can specify all those parameters. It now gives you the strengths, weaknesses, actionable insights, right? Now, since we also have access to your ads data, right? What I've asked it to do is also do a listing review, right? So from your reviews, it's taken out all the important information. Now it is applying that information on your listing, right? Again, key finding actionable insights, and now marry that to your ads keyword data, right? So the is my keyword targets aligned to my reviews and listing. All right, this is all the behind the scenes it did for 4 or 5 minutes. And then again, uh, it does basically give you again like your key findings, top performers, and then actionable insights, right? And then just to make everyone's life easy, we also give, so after every chat, you do get few examples of follow-on questions you will probably ask. Maybe I'll go back and see it's still working. So it does take a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, depending on how big the account is, what the query is. But that's like the general gist, right? So instead of having like a lot of time configuring your Claude, ChatGPT, right? Giving it files, explaining it what all Amazon parameters are, what all the file header means. You can just potentially just write like a simple query and it does the magic for you. So that's like the first I would say the Amazon analyst hack which we had on the webinar. Any questions, comments? I see something on the chat. Yeah. I think perfect. Awesome. So I think we can move on to the next one. Andrew, I think you are next, and the topic is building an AI e-commerce marketing team without hiring more people.
Thank you, sir. All right. So I'm going to share my screen here. I decided I wasn't going to do a whole deck kind of like I usually do. I actually thought this would be kind of fun to actually show everyone exactly how we leverage ChatGPT internally. So if you're not familiar, my name is Andrew Maff. I'm the founder and CEO of BlueTuskr. We're a full service marketing firm for e-commerce sellers, and we tend to work with brands on multiple marketplaces, obviously, or multiple sales channels, I should say. One of those marketplaces obviously being Amazon. So I have a bunch of different stuff here. I've only got 10 minutes, so I don't have too much time to go through it. So I actually kind of pre-prepared everything and kind of walk through everything. So I'm going to just kind of show you the prompts. But I know there's a lot of awesome people on the event today that have their own AI platforms, and they're going to walk you through exactly how they all work, which I'm super excited to learn about. But I don't have one. I've got ChatGPT and kind of all the other basics that come out now, which is crazy to call ChatGPT a basic, but it is. So I'm just going to walk you through a handful of GPTs that we've created. So if you're not familiar and assuming that you're still kind of learning the world of AI, we all are. But the reality is with ChatGPT, you can create your own GPT, which is kind of like your own AI where you teach it to do certain things for you and you give it a certain goal. So I'm going to walk you through 3 of them that we've created today. I've hit a few of them because they're still kind of in the works, so I don't want to show them off yet. But I'm going to walk you through 3 of them. Basically, the way that we operate internally is we have specialists in every individual marketing strategy. So that could be specific to Amazon, paid advertising, SEO, etc. It could be SEO from a D2C perspective. It could be SEM from a D2C perspective. So what we wanted to do is give our team the ability to have something to kind of cross-check everything. AI should never be the end-all, be-all, but it's a great way to kind of double-check everything you're doing and start to kind of develop a different mindset and a different thought process, and then evaluate and then execute as needed. So I'm going to walk you through 3 of them. And 3 of them that we've created. So we've created what we refer to as our Amazon consultant. This gives us the ability to do a complete keyword and competitor analysis comparative to ASINs that you're obviously trying to rank versus your competition. It also helps us completely write listings, so titles, bullet points, product descriptions, all the fun stuff in the back end, everything, and evaluate what type of messaging and call outs your competitors are doing. We also have the ability to completely evaluate our advertising strategy, and we can do competitive analysis between competitors as well as obviously your own listings. The SEO consultant, which is a little bit more on the D2C side, but we do also actually leverage this on the Amazon side. This can help us create, it does reporting for us, but it also allows us to analyze organic growth issues that we may be seeing, where we're seeing reduction in either organic revenue or where there's organic traffic. We can also have it help us develop pillar piece and content strategies, which I'm going to walk you through today. And it can also help diagnose what larger issues we may be having outside of just content. And then the other one I'm going to walk you through today is our SEM consultant. So SEM being mainly Google Ads, Microsoft Ads. This is, it allows us to build out what we refer to as our starting structure, which is basically literally everything that you're going to implement into your Google Ads campaigns to kind of analyze and over adjust everything. It also has an account diagnostic analyst, so we can upload every single report that we have, and it will actually feed out basically what it is suggesting for us to resolve. A campaign strategist, which is individual campaign deep dives to evaluate what we need to change in certain campaigns once we've had the structure that we want. And then kind of just hey, I'm not really sure what I need here, and it kind of helps guide. So these are things that come from hours upon hours of feedback and stuff that we've done with the team to evaluate, like, okay, what problems do we have? What information do we need? And then we tweak and we tweak and we tweak to the point where we feel like we've made these things into these just complete expert consultants. So I'm gonna walk you through a few examples here. So this is one I already did. So this was on our Amazon consultant side, where we actually developed this GPT to run keyword research and takes your main parent ASIN competitive to comparative to your competitors. So it prompts the person for a bunch of information, right? So what's your parent ASIN marketplace you're focused on, top 3 to 5 competitors, title, bullet points, all that fun stuff. It asks a bunch of different information. And so we go through and we go, okay, here's all the information that we know we can supply this GPT for it to be able to feed us the most important information that we need. So I went ahead and already did this, got all the information together. I actually pulled some reports out of a Helium 10 account as well and fed that into here. So I gave it everything that I could possibly provide it. And what it starts to do is it actually gives us insight into the overall ranked terms that we're already ranking for, competitive keyword opportunities. So where is this competitor potentially ranking that currently our ASINs are not? It gives us kind of an 80-20 prioritization. It breaks it down into what should go into the back end versus what should go into bullet points. It gives us some insight into PPC, gives us insight into what keywords should go into title and bullet points, goes insight into how we should potentially structure the ads, and then it gives you insight into exactly what those next steps should be. So do we want to get into a primary keyword list? Do we want to figure out a more competitive gap analysis? Or do we want to really just come up with a giant list of keywords for us to feed into a listing? So there's a ton of opportunity here. As I said, I know I've got 10 minutes, so I'm going to try to fly through these. But I will also walk you through how we can kind of set this up. The other side of it, so also I'm sticking to Amazon a little bit more because I imagine probably a good amount of Amazon sellers today. So this is the ad strategy. This one's also really interesting because this is where there's a lot of speculation and a lot of one expert says one thing, one expert says another. And I wanted to get this to a point where I just want black and white facts. I don't want opinions. I want clear data feeding out. So this will actually prompt the user to provide the search term reports over the previous 30, 60, 90 days, whatever we have. And then it will tell you okay, based on all that information, here's what we're going to feed you. So I actually gave this, there's a ton of information for this one. I gave this one our search term report as well as our sponsored brands keyword report. And so it evaluates everything that's going through there. And so what it did is it mapped out all of the areas where we're seeing some very clear bleeds. We're seeing, by the way, these were all prospects that they said it was okay that I would do this on today's webinar. So if you see it, this is what your results were. The other thing it's feeding out is the efficiency around actual scavenger terms and things that are kind of in rough areas. The sponsored brand side, it's getting some clicks that may not be converting. So it gives me a ton of information around where the problems are there. Same thing with the kind of a competitor mix around the sponsored brand side where we might see competitive keywords coming in. And then it gives me some ideas into a fix. And one of my favorite things about this, because I knew that from an Amazon perspective, the amount of opinions that people have is ridiculous. So this will actually give us a confidence score. So it becomes like a low, medium, high of how likely that this opportunity is going to help. So sometimes it will give me some speculative information based on the data that we have, and it will provide a confidence score. So we know okay, it's not 100% sure here. We can evaluate if this should be a priority or if we should test this in the future. And so we built this whole thing out. It gets super, super deep. I'm going to try to touch on two more here in the last couple minutes I've got. So it can get even deeper into literally just kicking out a report for us that gives us every campaign, every ad group, every keyword, what match type we want. If we want to do any additional bidding, it will literally feed us the entire report for us to then obviously go into Amazon and start to test it. On the SEO side, this one I love. Because we actually also use this from an Amazon perspective, but this one is helping us develop the pillar piece and content initiative. So this doesn't write it for us. We use a separate AI platform for that, but figuring out the research around it, which keywords we should focus on and which topics we should write for those keywords. So what I did is it prompts us for our target keywords, a lot of information around what are our current top products, what are our competitors that we're focused on, what's our domain authority, et cetera. And so once I fed it all of that information, it confirms it has the needed information, and then it starts to break down the overall framework. So it gives us our actual pillar information. If you're not familiar with the pillar approach, it's basically one significantly large article that has a bunch of individual topics in it. It's a little bit more general, but all those individual topics then break out into their own blog post. You focus initiatives on the pillar piece. That's for a different webinar. But this gives me insight into the pillar piece that we want to focus on, and then all of the supporting cluster content around it. And even if we want to get deeper into more clusters around certain types of content. So it gives us all this information around, okay, here's all the articles you want. Here's what your pillar piece and your topic cluster should talk about. Here's all the information you want to include in it. And then as we get even deeper and deeper, it can actually start to break this down by how many blog posts should we do, how many words should be in it, how many images should be in it, links, etc. So we can have all of that information. And in my last couple seconds here, the Google Ads side. So this is an account diagnostic analyst. So effectively, we pull all of the reports out of a Google Ads account, at least in this scenario, put it into this ChatGPT, and it is GPT, and it allows us to pull all the information. So I basically tell like, okay, here's our target KPI. Yes, this is Google Ads over Microsoft. What are we focused on? What's the attribution window? And give it some insight that the reports don't pull. I can also give it nuance because sometimes like there's inventory issues or seasonality or something that we have to factor in. And once we actually feed it this data, it evaluates every single thing. And very similar to the Amazon ad side, there's speculation and theories around everything. So it gives us a risk area. And this actually also gives us a watch window. So one of the things that we wanted to make sure this had was if we were to implement a change, how long is it supposed to take until we should see some results and then we need to pivot? Or how long should we let this run before we test? Because there's theories around learning stages and stuff like that. There's a bunch of other stuff, but I know I'm at time. But essentially, this evaluates everything. So obviously, I wanted to thank everyone for allowing me to chat today. If you are watching, I did want to give everyone the opportunity for me to run this for you. So I would love to do a free AI-powered channel diagnostic. Essentially, I will take all of your information, throw it into our GPT, and I will give you everything that comes out of it. So if it's something you're interested in, I probably have time to do like 10 of them. So just shoot me an email. It's andrew@bluetuskr.com. That's BLUETUSKR. And I would be happy to run this for everyone. But otherwise, I think that the best thing to follow up an Andrew is another Andrew, because Andrew Smith, I believe you are up next.
Thank you for the tee up, Andrew. Great job.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you so much, first Andrew. Yeah, and welcome on board, second Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew squared. Let's
Squared.
go. All right. So excited to show everyone what we're up to. Definitely a new disruptive strategy is what I would call this. And the reason why it's disruptive is because no one has mastered this strategy without upsetting Amazon yet. And I'll preface this with, we have had 0 Amazon warnings or complaints from the strategy for over 400 brands in the past year. So excited to show you what we do and why it's such a pivotal strategy and where the AI comes in. So I'm just going to go right to the product, and it's going to be a few-minute product demo, but I'll tell you what the goal is. The goal is to create agency on Amazon by having owned customer relationships. So right now, the only control you have on reviews is clicking a review button from the perspective of sending an Amazon.com email, which everyone has filtered out. So what a lot of our customers and a lot of people on Amazon complain about is how do you generate review velocity without Vine, because Vine is oftentimes ineffective, in order to increase the amount of people that genuinely like your product without doing something totally black hat, like paying for a review. I'll show you what the strategy is and how we've been improving this for brands where AI comes in. So 3 steps here. Step 1 is monitoring. What we do is we ingest your entire store. It's one of our customers. They're just about to launch with us. The way it works is we monitor every single product that you have down to the 100th decimal point. I haven't seen this in any other tool before. Helium 10, etc. Jungle Scout. Usually it just shows you the general one. We actually show you how many bad ratings to fall below 4 stars and how many to get above 4.8, as well as what your review and rating score is every day. This isn't just reviews, it's ratings as well. And we ingest all the review content below. We're doing some cool AI stuff with that soon. But the monitoring is step number 1 to get a sense of where you're at. You can import competitor stores and competitive products to see what their rating and review velocity is day over day. Step 2, I call this capture. So capture has 2 steps. The first step is you put a QR together. So we usually like sticking these on the product, like in a sticker form. We've done a lot of testing, but a 2-inch, 1-inch, or 3-inch circle with 1/2-inch increments is usually the best way to go about actually putting a sticker on. So you print out these stickers, you put them on, and they go to what we call our flows when someone scans. So this is all part of the capture process, which is very simple, where essentially I'll just show you like one of the flows that we have here. What it does is it's a branded landing page after you scan that gives, and this is the really important part with Amazon, an Amazon discount code. So what you do is you import your Amazon discount codes from Seller Central, and everyone that scans that QR code is given an Amazon discount code. So you're wondering, what is the next step? How do I actually get reviews? And how is this AI? So I'll show you the next two nodes because these are the important ones. The next node is this create a review button, goes dynamically to the product someone chose to the review area. So without a discount associated, nothing. We just track the amount of people that click the review button on the landing page. And again, like no discount, no forcing discount. And then the next thing that we've been testing and rolling out for brands is a review concierge. So now that we have the email, instead of using just like a batch and blast email from Amazon's website, it comes from your address. And it's a robot that essentially approaches your customers with pre-loaded text, but it also comes up with it itself as well to actually include the link that's in the success page to gently follow up if no review is made. There's no screenshotting, no anything like that. It's as simple as using the monitoring that we have in our platform and the time someone clicks the button to determine if the user's made a review. And this is a way that you can incrementally increase reviews with neutral requests. And the only thing that required, to get that email was giving an Amazon discount. And that strategy has driven for over 400 brands. We drive around, went from one review per day or per week for a lot of our brands to literally over 40. So the amount people are actually gaining from this strategy, the 8% opened email, click through emails, and around a 10% leave a review button has been significantly driving reviews in a way that I haven't seen any issues yet. We'll keep everyone updated, but this has been a really effective technology. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Andrew. I think pretty neat trick, right? Where basically you offer a discount, but you don't ask for review. You ask for review in the email, right?
Yeah, and the review is completely separate from the discount. Usually it's 30 days after or something when the person's happy. And it's more of a concierge approach rather than a batch and blast from Amazon.com. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So
And there's
everyone
no
gets
discount
a
associated.
custom email tailored to them.
Exactly.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. And I think our next guest is Ganesh. So, hey,
Cheers.
Ganesh,
Thank you, Akash. Yeah, some great tools that I've seen you guys do. And yeah, I think the QR code one looks brilliant. Would definitely love to try that. So, all right. Hey guys, I'm Ganesh. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at 3dimages.ai. So I've been working in the e-commerce space for the last 5 years, and I have a team who've been building on Amazon for over 10 years. But I'm here because we actually spent months deep diving into how 3D models actually affect everyday products on Amazon. So we looked at categories where people typically don't think about 3D models, like supplements and toiletries. And literally the results we're seeing are honestly incredible. So I'm excited to show you what we found. So here's the context for why we started this business. So Amazon's been around for over 25 years. And in that time, we've seen these massive waves of new features that brands can use to improve their sales. And we now know that Amazon rewards brands who use these features. So wave one was A+ content. The biggest brands jumped on it first and saw conversions skyrocket. And eventually every graphic designer on freelancer websites easily pivoted from infographics to A+ content for Amazon sellers. And then it became the industry standard in 2019. So wave two was when Amazon announced they wanted videos on every listing. And similarly to A+ content, the biggest brands jumped on the wave first and boosted conversions. Then it became the industry standard. So in 2024, Amazon announced a third wave of 3D models. So what's the context behind this announcement and why is it important 2 years later? Well, Amazon looked at over 350 million products and saw that less than 1% were using their 360 spin feature on the mobile app. And for brands, this feature was an absolute nightmare to use and the quality was always grainy. So Amazon decided to open the doors to the SPN network last year and they invited brands to create 3D models made by professional 3D artists. They realized this was the only way to give customers these assets at scale, but these 3D artists couldn't understand Amazon. So after the announcement, brands found that creating 3D models was extremely hard and expensive. So the return on investment was only worth it for products with functional uses like seeing a sofa in your living room or trying on glasses. But basically, everyone missed the bigger picture. So the reason I'm here is because the reality is we've seen 3D slowly appear on hundreds of categories. I'm talking like supplements, water bottles, toilet roll, and coffee pods. And to understand why this is happening, you have to look at what Amazon discovered when they first experimented with 3D. So firstly, when a customer clicks the view in 3D button, they 2x their conversions. Hence, they are twice as likely to buy from you. And secondly, simply having a 3D asset on your listing leads to a 9% total sales uplift on average. So Amazon are basically proving 3D works across multiple categories. But here's a real reason Amazon are pushing this so hard because they hate dealing with product returns. And I know everyone on this call hates it too. So roughly 22% of returns happen because the item wasn't as described. And part of this reason is that customers couldn't judge the size, scale, or texture from a flat photo. So a 3D model is the only way to simulate the physical experience in a shop by letting the customer pick up the product and inspect it before they buy. And because of this, Amazon takes quality incredibly seriously and every single model is manually reviewed by their team for 100% accuracy. So we basically tested the performance of 3D models for ourselves, and my company spent the last 6 months looking at different category data sets to find how brands are boosting conversions with 3D models. So we recently chose coffee pods because nobody expected this category to have a 38% adoption rate of 3D models on the top 100 bestsellers with something as basic as a box. So now, full transparency, tracking the impact of 3D is extremely tricky because there are millions of variables, but we did our best to remove the common biases associated with measuring performance. And the results were insane. So the listings using 3D models had 47% higher sales on average compared to identical quality listings without 3D. These interactive listings also had an average bestseller rank of 70 compared to 124. And on top of that, products using 3D were able to charge 13% more on average, likely because their product appears more premium. We can only trace these similar effects back to the waves of when Amazon announced A+ content and videos. So what's really going on here and why are the results so much higher compared to the data that Amazon published? Well, we believe it's for one very simple reason. So when a brand introduces 3D models in a competitive category, they're triggering a powerful multiplier effect over time. We already know from Amazon that every time a shopper clicks view in 3D, the probability of a conversion doubles on average, but it doesn't stop there. So the Amazon algorithm now sees your product as more relevant and pushes and rewards the higher conversion rate by pushing your listing into a higher organic ranking. And this creates the multiplier effect. So it it will basically just leave it will leave the competitors with a 10 out of 10 2D listing in the dust. And every time a customer views your product in 3D, you aren't just more likely to make a sale, you're actually triggering an algorithm multiplier that compounds your growth. So if this sounds familiar, it's because we've seen this before with A+ content. People understood that it was a massive conversion booster purely from the premium feel. Except now, 30% of products on Amazon already have it and it's become the industry standard. So we all know A+ content is expensive, takes weeks to optimize, and customers have to scroll past your price tag just to see it. However, 3D models are eye level. So when a shopper clicks on the listing, it sits right at the top of the page before they ever see your A+ modules. With less than a 3% adoption rate across Amazon, there's a clear first mover advantage. You can get most of the benefits that A+ content has for a fraction of the price using 3D models. But I'm not saying one is better than the other. Both have its own uses, but ultimately brands purchase them for the same reason, to make their listing feel more premium. So if this is the case, why hasn't 3D completely been mainstream? And to understand this, let me tell you about our experiences. So honestly, 3D was an absolute logistical nightmare where we tried it over the years. The first place we went to was freelancer websites like Fiverr. And our experience is that there are tons of freelancers out there who created 3D models for games, but now advertise under e-commerce products. However, these models almost always get rejected by Amazon as they have some of the highest technical standards across all marketplaces. They manually check colors, sizes, proportions, and ensure there are no visual mistakes. So when we use freelancers, we actually had 3 weeks of constant rejections with one of our brands. So this leaves the top 1% who have an in-house specialist 3D team, which is insanely expensive and a massive management headache. So for 99% of brands, it was just too hard to get a 3D model. So literally after experiencing this pain firsthand, we built our company 3D Images for brands to get 3D models at scale. And we have over 150 vetted designers who get consistent training and updates on all Amazon compliance standards that we've unfortunately had to identify for ourselves. So we handle the technical stuff, the formatting and the headaches, and you just send us a couple photos and dimensions. And then we'll just send you a perfect 3D asset. And for most products, we're doing a 48-hour turnaround. So the interesting part is, what else can you do with a 3D model? So you can upload them to all the channels listed here, like Walmart and Shopify, to reap similar benefits. And secondly, AI tools like Adobe Firefly recently just had an update where you can drop your 3D model in their software and design AI lifestyle images and videos with 360 context of your product. Thirdly, if you're launching a new product, you can use 3D renders to set up listings and websites before your product is manufactured. And finally, you can have an iPhone style cinematic video of your product using 3D animations. So at 3D Images, we also provide services like video production and lifestyle images. And we also have services like AR integration to embed configurators, virtual try-on, and 3D models onto any e-commerce website. And yeah, we ran the 3D model experiment on Amazon for a massage roller called Mobo, and we raised their conversions from 3% to 7%. And we tested it on a supplement brand called Moringa Burst, and they saw a 15% uplift in conversions and a massive drop in returns. So the insight is, so to the agency owners watching, like if you wait for a client to ask for 3D models, you're going to be in an endless waiting game because they won't ask for 3D models. They'll only ask for more ways to boost sales and performance. So now you know the benefits of 3D, you can now solve their common problem. So we offer a white label partnership. You can basically start offering 3D tomorrow and add a new revenue stream. And alternatively, we can review all your brands and find the areas with the highest ROI. So yeah, I want you guys to test this new way for yourselves. So in the next 48 hours, you can get your first 3D model for just $99. And we recommend you pick your best seller and track the conversion rate. So you can submit your product via the payment link, which is www.3dimages.ai/payment. And for any other inquiries, you can reach out to me by email. You can book a call with me anytime on our website. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ganesh. Some of these 3D models look really neat. So good work on that.
Cheers. Thank you.
Perfect. So now our next panelist is Kamaljit Singh, right? And his topic is how to generate and test Amazon images in minutes in AI, right? So go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Akash. Super excited to be here. Yeah, just today I just arrived to hotel in Dubai. I'm going to World F, and I'm really sick somehow. I fell sick this morning, so I'm still on my I'm still on the bed, so I'm wearing a jacket. So if I'm yeah, it's kind of hot here, but I'm still I'm feeling really cold. So if I do mess up, excuse me, just because I'm not feeling that well. So in this presentation, I'm gonna share with you like how you can generate high converting A+ content in like minutes. And the one of the limitations with AI is that AI can only generate images in like very certain aspect ratios. So how do you resize that for A+ content or premium A+ content? That's a real struggle. So now you have to like send it to the designer, and the designers, they do minor changes just to resize it. But now you can do that in a minute. So I'm going to show you that, and I'm also going to show you like how you can generate high quality main images and test them right away using AI. So let's get started. I'm going to share my entire screen, and if you guys want, I can pick an ASIN, as a demo from, someone in the audience. If you do want to share any ASIN, feel free to share that with me. So just for the example, I'm going to pick maybe this ASIN. So I'm going to copy that. So what you need to do, you need to go to listingoptimization.ai. It's a software that can generate high converting like images, A+ content, and high CTR images, using AI in minutes. So what you need to do, you come over here, generate the campaign using the ASIN. If your listing is not live, you can generate by the keyword as well. and you click here and then just start the campaign. And what AI is going to do, AI is going to generate like it's going to scrape all the reviews of your competitors and your own competitors. It's going to do like a complete market intelligence. So if you want to give your own competitors, you can use the deep mode. For example, with the deep mode, like AI will ask you like what kind of competitors you want to pick for your market intelligence. So I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to go to Control C. I'm just for the example, I'm going to use the deep mode. So deep mode gives you a lot more accuracy. You can choose your own competitors. You can choose your own brand guidelines. You can choose your own fonts. So AI has recommended me this competitor, but you can add a lot more. So just to kind of show you how the market intelligence is going to look like, it just looks something like this. So AI will extract and give you all the pain points, the positive themes. What are people talking about in the reviews? What are the feature requests? So you can use these pain points, you can use these positive themes and build your listing images. So these are the top pain points. Once again, for example, battery life, disappointment, slow inflation speed, noisy, while it's operating. So it's coming from the real reviews. So now your listing image stack is going to be so much easier. And there's no guessing happening. You can see all those reviews over here and you can export those reviews if you want to. So whole intelligence, you can see your competitors' images over here. You can add more competitors if you want to. These are the image recommendations, what you should be doing in your listing images and A+ content. So let's go back and take a look, where we are. So it's going to take like 3 to 5 minutes. So in the meantime, I'll show you like how you can generate high converting main images. So what you do, you come to main image generator, paste the ASIN, choose how many images you want to generate, choose the image generation model. I like Gemini 3 Pro, which is Nano Banana Pro. You can also choose from the winning templates. So there are like lots of winning templates over here. So it looks like there's internet is slow here. So I'm just gonna choose like few randomly and okay, so I'm going to click generate and it's going to take like 45 seconds to generate all those main images. So in all of these main images, they're coming from winning templates that we have run like thousands of experiments and came up with some of the winning templates which normally perform better than regular main images. And these are like designed to stand out from the competitors. So here's a SERP simulation as well. So you can see some of your competitors and see if your main image does stand out or not. So let's give it about 30 to 45 seconds and the images should be ready. And Akash, do let me know, keep me accountable on the time, once I have like 2 minutes left, just let me know.
Sure. You still have time.
Okay, perfect. So it looks like the images are coming up already. So I have 3 images generated. So look at these images. So they are like product shape is accurate, like these are all like winning Amazon main images style. So you can easily regenerate. For example, over here, it gave us the white backdrop in a studio. So what you need to do is you can just regenerate and give the feedback, make it pure white background, right? So you can just give the feedback and it's gonna regenerate that image for you. And you can check like how your image stands out among your competitors. There you go. If you don't like this one, you can test like multiple images at the same time. You can also see these images in the mobile view as well. So you can auto scroll and see how your image stands out from the other competitors. And what top agencies are doing, they always like to do the blur test. So blur test meaning if you blur the whole SERP simulation, that's when you will understand like which image is truly standing out. So blur test works really, really well. So I highly recommend that you should also, you can build this on Canva if you're not using listingoptimization.ai. So blur test really helps you which image stands out. So look at these images and I'm going to go back and check my progress on the, on the images. So for this supplement, the market intelligence is completed and it's going to take like a couple of minutes to generate like visuals. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you, for example, let's take a look. Let's take a look at this brief. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to generate A+ content module. So once the brief is ready, this is how it's going to look like. You can see main images over here. You can see secondary images over here. So I'm just going to click generate over here. You can generate how many images you want to generate. You can choose the image generation model as well. You can change the font. You can change the resolution. You can also edit the prompt. You can regenerate the prompt if needed. You can duplicate that. You can also upload like exporting files. So just wait for like 30, 40 seconds and the images will be ready. So main images, we give you 3 concepts. In secondary, we give you 7 infographics and lifestyle image concepts, which are good for like secondary images. And let's see, what it does. So I'm just going to click over here. And then here's the A+ content. So A+ content, there's different dimensions. So I'm going to share something really interesting. Okay. So all I did, just few clicks, and all my A+ content modules are ready. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to download this one. Let's wait for these guys to finish up. In the meantime, I'll come over here and I'm going to put them in Canva just to show you like how it's going to visually look. So I come over here. So I'm going to drop these images over here. So my first module goes all the way up to the top. That's my second module. Let's come back to listening optimization AI. My third module is ready. I'm going to download that. My fourth one is ready. My fifth module. We give like a lot more extra modules so that you can easily, do it for your premium A+ content as well. So I'm going to come back here and there you go. So I'm going to put my third module over here. Fourth one. So that's it. So I'm going to move this all the way down over here. And then like I'm not a designer by any means, but this is like unreal that, like me being a non-designer, I can generate like, A+ content. So, and all of these modules, they are designed for high conversion on A+ content. And, like it's lots of templates that we have done. Take a look at this, guys. A+ content ready in 2 minutes. All I had to do was like click generate, generate, generate. Is it perfect? No. If I spend more, I'm not saying only spend 2 minutes, but if you spend like, half an hour making changes, if something is wrong, you can just regenerate. And this is what your A+ content is going to look like. Even if you're an agency or if you're a brand, you have a design team, your design team productivity could be like, 100x. Imagine like, so there's no creative bottleneck anymore. And now, you might be thinking, hey, Kamal, like, are these like A+ content ready? So I'm going to show you one more trick. So what you do, you go to Canva and create your like, custom size. Let's say you want to do 970 by 600. Okay. So this is what Amazon accepts for standard A+ content. So I'm going to move my image over here. So let's say I want to do this image. Right. So I'm going to put it over here. Maybe let's do a different one. So this one is a lot easier. So there's multiple options. Okay. So what you do, you try to put it in the frame, centerize that, and then click on edit. And you can come here and choose the colors, photo colors. For example, come here. And what are the photo colors? I'm going to put here. So now my A+ content is ready for A+ content. We can ready to upload. Just drag it over here. There you go. Okay, that's one option. Or the second option is what you can also do. You can come over here. You can go to Magic. Click here, click edit, Magic Studio. Then there's the background remover, Magic Eraser, Magic Grab, grab text. If you want to like make this text editable, click on Magic Text, select the text that you want to change, click grab, and it's going to make that text editable. So now take a look at this one. Like you can make changes like in minutes. And now let's say you want to resize this, click here, go to edit, go to Magic, sorry.
Kamal, sorry,
Yeah.
we're almost out of time.
Okay, all right, sounds good. So just wanted to share that, you can click on Magic Expand, whole page, and your A+ content will be ready for the, for the A+ content. So that's it, guys, from my side. This is how you generate high quality images with AI using listing optimization AI. So if you want, you can sign up. There's 25 images free that it's free to test out. So feel free to check that out. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Kamal. I think pretty neat, right? So the quality of A+ content and the images were really great, right? And if someone would spend, say, maybe a couple more hours on these, right, the output would be like something you could potentially use. Like, yeah.
Absolutely. It used to take us like 2 days to create these mock-ups and everything, right? So, but now it only takes like, 5 minutes to start. And now, if you spend like 30 minutes extra, refine those, I mean, this is a game changer. And I mean, I think that's the future. AI is the present. It's not the future.
Right. Thank you so much. All right. So next panelist is Christian. Let's see you are up, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Akash. And yeah, perfect to follow up the image topic. We're going to focus on the written content side, but actually if you zoom out a little bit, the written content updates and image updates oftentimes very much go hand in hand. What we're going to dive in specifically is the goal of optimizing two metrics. One is more organic traffic. The other one is increased conversions, and really doing that from a seasonal perspective and seasonal point of view. I'm Christian, I'm the CEO, co-founder of Autopilot. There's a lot of sort of Autopilot product names out there. We started at the transition from GPT-2 to GPT-3, thought like, okay, we really want to build an autonomous experience, more like an autopilot in a plane. That's why we named the company Autopilot. And yeah, let's dive right in. If you want to follow the slides, feel free to grab the slides here or connect with me on LinkedIn. But let's dig right in. Really, the type of seasons that we focus on overall on an annual basis is more than 40, 45 different seasons. Here's a couple of them. Right now, we're seasonality-wise kind of deep in Valentine's Day sales coming up this weekend. If you haven't ordered your product yet, go for it. And we see around those moments, there's a lot of seasons out there that kind of have a spike of like a week, a couple of days, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Overall, maybe just a kind of 6 to 8 week season where traditionally it's folks are probably organizing and optimizing for a couple of those, but many are being missed as one of being in focus. So really our focus is leveraging the power of AI, the power of automation to drive optimization across those seasons and understand which ones should be optimized for in the first place. We're doing this across a lot of products, a lot of brands, strong in apparel, beauty, and other categories. But really what we want to focus on today is telling you how the sauce is being made. You can replicate this process on your end. And obviously we believe in more machine-driven listing optimization, but there's different ways to approach that. The core takeaways up first. First of all, most products have some level of seasonality. There's no, sometimes there's kind of this understanding of, oh, it's a basic good, it's a basic pattern. Everything has a seasonal pattern. It's only a question of like how strong those seasonal patterns are. We're going to dive into some examples there. Seasonality offers new keyword markets and new Rufus context opportunities. Everyone talks about Rufus these days, generative engine optimization. I want to show you how the seasonal topic is playing into that. Seasons are easy. They return every year. That is very much valid and a core part that we've kind of built around, which is let's understand what the data tells us from last year, from 2 years ago, from 3 years ago, in terms of specific patterns and see if we can anticipate seasons coming and going. And then obviously if you manage this at scale, and this is more of an organizational principle, think of seasonal versus evergreen, because you're going to start shifting your copy or your images kind of between these dimensions. So let's start with the first one and go a bit deeper on that. basic goods do not have basic seasonal patterns. We first started optimizing this product here, which is basically disposable bamboo plates. For us, we're not anticipating, well, we're slightly anticipating different seasons, but really what we learned is that the core spikes around a product like this are around some of the big festival or some festive moments, like obviously around Christmas, but also in this case, around 4th of July in the US, where specifically Rufus actually then started like positioning questions like right under the core images around some of those events. And for us, it was something where we drove the initiative on the context optimization side, and another team here had aligned this with then the visual optimization. So really nice to see this go hand in hand. And if you go into what we believe is one of the core data sources around some of those learnings, which is search query performance data, you will see indicators around seasonality. Now, we think of seasonality in things in two boxes. Either it's super obvious from the keywords that it's a season, like New Year's Eve party supplies is a clear indicator when that is going on. The other part is more is less obvious from the keyword, but it's more of a specific spike that maybe around Easter now there's much more gifting related keywords kind of in the broader sense that are going to start spiking again. In terms of thinking about optimization, listing optimization there, really we think in terms of a framework, it's good to think about reactive and proactive optimization. Reactive more being like, how is generally the market moving? Learning that from competitor comparisons, SQPR data and so forth, where you will need a couple of weeks of data to pretty much make an informed decision on sort of where to steer things from left to right. Proactive is really kind of on the seasonal side here, where we know that at a certain point in time, a pattern from last year and the year before is going to repeat itself. And we can plan for that much more actively. So especially when seasons are short, that's a great way to anticipate that. Let's look at an example here from 111 Skin, which is in this case, is a face mask product. What we can basically see is that when we look through February, March, April, May, June, the seasons start shifting. And obviously they're not all at the same level, but February sees very strong Valentine's gifting for a product like this now. And then a couple more generic season where then, again, for Mother's Day, this particular item really becomes a very trending product again. And around those seasons, what we would want to start doing is, in most cases, adapt the language a bit around maybe the bullet points, bring those seasonal references into the description, into the backend search terms as well, such that you have stronger signal towards Amazon that those seasons matter. And on the other side, towards Rufus, where Rufus can pick up on that signal and understand, from kind of a shopper intent perspective. I'm sure you've seen the many versions of kind of this radar in terms of what matters for Rufus and for Cosmo from an AI search perspective. But when it comes to the why is someone buying this product or using this product, like how are they using it and when are they using it? Those are directly related to specific seasons that someone may be shopping for, and you can generate a lift around. Seasons are repetitive. Again, this is in this case, this is an example from Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is coming back every year, and it's very likely, even though the strength of the season may differ a little bit based on particular trends, but it's usually following a pretty repeatable pattern, where our job in terms of deciding when to optimize is really to see, okay, what are those patterns? Are they strong enough? And are they stronger than what the brand would otherwise have? And then once we get updates out, it's really about managing that complexity so jumping between evergreen content and the seasons, which preferably done through a system. And I guess as we're getting short on time here, just an open question back to you on the brand side or on the agency side. If you think about the ASINs that you're optimizing, what's the seasonal pattern that you're anticipating? We're happy to have a look and kind of run it through an evaluation to give you a couple of additional pointers there. And then obviously, once you know the pattern, then it's really, I would say it comes down to preference on how you like to run your operations. We work with a lot of brands with high SKU counts, thousands, sometimes more than 1 million SKUs, especially in the apparel space. Their manual is not a choice. It's just not an option. But obviously, if you have maybe a handful of SKUs, maybe you want to do it by hand for the first one just to see what the process is, but then kind of getting this into a much more automated solution. And that's really what we've been focusing on the Autopilot side. So, all in all, bringing things together with those learnings, you would adjust titles, you would adjust bullets, descriptions, generic search terms, you can bring in the images, and we learned some techniques today on how to really increase the speed on that side as well. And really the learnings, the foundation for all of the decisions around seasonal updates are coming from both your keyword data and then kind of the Rufus contextualization around the listings. We automate the process around listing optimization. We build around these pillars. And thank you a lot for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Right. So we only have 3 more panelists left. All right. So yeah, please stay tuned. Right. So our next panelist is Ruben. Are there one? Perfect. Please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ruben Alikhanyan. I'm the founder of PAS. We're a remote e-commerce department for brands and organizations. And, thank you for all the panelists. Love being here, share some of the important topics that I'm going to go through, but also learn from the panelists. I think it's a great opportunity for me to hear some of the experiences that other panelists are having. And aside from being a remote e-commerce owner, I'm also a seller myself. We own multiple brands, and the importance of that comes within this topic that we're going to discuss, which is how to use the customer demographic data to build your avatar, improve title images, and drive conversions. Our other panelists talked a good amount about how to use an AI, how to optimize. This should help you to optimize not by the hinge or by the guess, but based on your actual store data. And over the past few years, Amazon has quietly begun sharing more customer data than ever. Through brand analytics, we have the demographic data, we have the brand tailored promotions, which is a more closed loop customer data, and we have an AMC, and we have an access to AMC, which is a larger open loop scale customer information that sellers can use. So as a focus today, we'll discuss the demographic data as brought up. That includes the customer age, income, household size, and parental status. So the data is there, but what I've noticed most of the time sellers are just looking at the data, but not really taking that data into a useful or impactful action. So today I want to focus on the data interpretation because demographic data doesn't improve really your performance by its own, but the interpretation does. And there are 5 critical questions that we need to answer in order to get the truth data with that. And for that, I only need 2 things, and also a full YouTube video available for that on my channel. And I will share these questions with you for anyone who will be interested. And only these are demographic data for a year if you have it available, and a ChatGPT, and the prompt will be available as well. So with that, the first question is, how do we translate demographic data into real customer avatar? So first, I stop thinking in percentages and start thinking as a behavior. Demographic data is not an insights, they're more of a signals. So for example, if I see a strong female skew and mid-income dominance in product category, that does mean a target woman. What it means is who is likely making a decision, who is managing the household, what kind of a risk are they trying to reduce. An avatar isn't built from an age alone, but also from the motivation. So instead of saying my buyer is 35 years old, I ask, why does this 35-year-old choose my product over a cheaper one, or what fears are they trying to avoid, or what problems they're trying to solve repeatedly? So the question 2 is I usually ask with that, which is which demographic signals actually matter? And not columns are equal on this one. An age alone and usually one data alone is weak. So I combine them together to get better grasp on the idea. So the gender plus income tells you risk tolerance and the value sensitivity. Household size tells you repeat purchase logic. Parental status tells you a risk aversion and safety prioritization. So for example, if household size is 3 to 5, you're not selling one-off purchase, you're likely selling into a routine. So patterns matter more than isolated numbers, and this is great for the repeat purchases. And how do I validate, as a number, question number 3, whether your avatar is a correct one? And this goes back to the listing and image optimization and understanding your avatar, again, not by the hunch, but through who is your consumer. Assumptions without validations are just an opinions, and I validate that 3 ways. The first are the reviews, important, everyone knows. If I assume the buyer cares about durability and safety, I should see that language in reviews. If the reviews emphasize aesthetics instead, my assumption is wrong. Second, conversion shifts. If I adjust messaging to reflect my avatar and the conversion improves, that confirms the alignment. It's very, very simple. And third, audience response. If demographic is informed, DSP advertising segment to create more traffic will outperform broad targeting. That will confirm the behavior accuracy. So this data not only helps you to improve your current conversion, which I'll get into the examples real shortly, but it also helps you to be very specific when you're using a DSP targeting for the mature brands, because the DRP targeting tools including this data to be able to find who is your buyer. The question number 4 is, how do demographic influence titles and first image strategy? A big one. And I will show that again on my own product and the results at the end. So mobile titles are filters, at least that's the way I see them. They're not descriptions. So we have to make that distinction very clear. The first 70 characters determine whether someone even will consider your product or not. The demographics tell you what fear or priority must be addressed immediately. If your buyer is a parent, they care about safety, durability before material composition. And this is an actual example from my own product, which is, so instead of plastic free, is cleaner than the wheat straw, because the idea of wheat straw material is not that popularized. But the idea of plastic free is much cleaner than just the wheat straw. So the kids may need to become before adults because the parents are looking for kids specifically, and durable may matter more than the millimeters, which was originally picked as part of my title as the size of the product. So first image should reinforce the buyer's primary concerns and not showcase everything at once. And then 5, and then final question is, how do I test the demographic driving changes without hurting the performance? And this is the easiest one to go through because, again, Amazon, thankfully, giving us a lot of options within A/B testing with your images, with your titles, with your bullet points. So you don't have to go all in and do this right away, but instead you can A/B test it and see how it reflects to your product.
Hey, Ruben, are you trying to share your screen? Are you?
No, I'm actually reading. I have everything prepared. There's nothing to share.
Perfect. Okay. No worries.
Now I will share. At this point, I will share. All right. So the one thing now I want to share is the actual effect of the of this tests, right? So again, remember 2 things: customer demographic data for a year. You have to download it per quarter. It doesn't give you as a bulk. You have to do that little bit of a due diligence. And then ChatGPT, which prompt I will share with anyone who's interested. But almost immediately, I get a 5-6 important bullet points, which is relevant to my customer. I don't want to go through all of them. And again, this all will be available for anyone who's interested. But right away, my primary customer avatar is out there. The age 32 to 44, income, lifestyle, we have it. Suburban, family oriented, busy weekday routines, value, systems that reduce friction. The core problem they're trying to solve: safe, durable, non-toxic launch solution. I'll give you a caveat. You want this improved? Also add your reviews or return reasons that the customers are returning them from the FBA. So the emotional buying triggers, peace of mind, feeling like a good, responsible parent, reducing daily stress. The secondary customer segment, again, we'll leave that for another time, but the messaging and positioning guidance, listing copy designed for daily school use, one lunchbox that lasts for the whole year. Images, real kitchen, real backpacks, real mornings, and then age and what to avoid as well. So with this, I get the full idea, not just on the data, but who is this R and who I need to focus on. So, and also gives me subscribe and save, not ideal for the core skill. That makes sense. If this product is a lunchbox, which it is, subscribe and save, it's not eligible, or it wouldn't even make sense. So what I did, I'm going to show you an example. So this was my original title that was dropped by my copywriter. And as you see, green lunch bento for kids and adults with 2 compartments, large wheat straw, lunchbox, and blah, blah, blah. I immediately noticed that there is an issue, and I used this data to optimize it. And then optimization came with the kids and adults creates instant friction. The product is for kids. Adults is a good keyword, but I want to get rid of it. So that's got moved. The wheat straw is a great material that substitutes plastic, but no one knows about the wheat straw. So instead, we focused on BPA free. 1100 ml, again, it's non-humor readable, which was changed by the size overall being large. And what demographics tell us to do: parent decision maker, risk averse, focus safety on durability, which allowed us to add those key elements to our title. With that, our title was ready to go. Green lunch bento for kids, large, durable, plastic-free lunchbox, microwave, and dishwasher safe. And the final results are actually here in my merchant spring data. We see our conversion improve 5 points for the month today, at being an 8.2, and the second variation being improved at 2.8, at 5% increase on the conversion. So I use this data to not only fix my listing images, but also being able to improve my titles that is designed, again, by night guesses, but is directed to the actual buyers, and will help me to also make the decisions on pricing and who I'm targeting to when the time is right for the DSP. So this is the topic. I think a lot more sellers need to use the customer demographic data to understand and make right decisions. Again, for any information on here discussed on the questions, full prompt and video also available in YouTube, please let me know. I'll be happy to share, as I think more sellers need to use this to make the right decisions.
Perfect. Thanks, Ruben. You are right on time. Perfect. So now we have our next speaker, Ben.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Akash. Thanks a lot for having me. Hello, and great to hear all the presentations, a lot of learnings and notes that I've been taking. So let me just share my screen and we'll get started. So are you able to see my screen?
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. So today what I'll talk about is how you can build your own automations, Amazon task automations. So just before that, just quick context. I mean, till now, if we had to automate any tasks on Amazon, typically what we would do is find out about tools that are available that other sellers are using, explore it in forums, or if we have to build our own, we would basically have to learn APIs and Python. Now today, with AI agents, what we can do is basically build our own tools, describe what we want, orchestrate this between different AI agents, which I'll show you with one example on how you can do that, and basically test and launch your own automation. So today I'll demo how you can build your own automation. Since time is limited, I'll show this for how you can build this for title optimization to maximize your CTR and CVR. Tools that we will use is one is Claude app, second is Claude's Chrome extension, and third is Replit app. Replit is where we would be actually building the application. So today, this is the manual title optimization process that all of us follow when we are optimizing for title. For our own ASIN, identify the most important keywords, search on Amazon for those keywords to see what all are the different ASINs that are showing up, shortlist ASINs that have more similar features and pricing, shortlist ASINs that are selling more than us, find out keywords they are indexing on via Jungle Scout or Helium 10, find out what competitors are communicating, find out which keywords we are indexing for, and lastly look at features that are important to customers via reviews, our reviews or competitor reviews, and use all of this along with some title best practices to generate the most appropriate title for our listing. So this process is typically long, it's time consuming, and this is what we will first look at how to automate. Now, the automation that we will build here are primarily has 3 to 4 simple steps. One is describe what your expectation on the process is, the process that you would like to follow. Then use Claude to create a detailed PRD or tech specs that typically a senior engineer would create, and then paste that into Replit. And then Replit would create a prototype. We'll have to test it 2 or 3 times, and then finally the automation should be ready to use. So let me just switch my screen and show you some of these things. So this is how I would describe how I would want to automate my title creation. You may have a slightly different process, but typically uh, for any ASIN that I would have use, and in this I would also mention which tools to use. So if you want to use this exact documents that I'm using, you can send me an email. I'll be happy to share this with you. So here, the process that I would like to follow is use an external scraping API to fetch my latest listing data. From that, generate a 2, 3 letter or a 4 word keyword that represents my product accurately. With those keywords, look at competitor search results on Amazon. From all the search results that have been identified, shortlist the most relevant competitors, which are similar to my product in terms of pricing, maybe have higher sales. Save these shortlisted competitors' titles. Then fetch competitor keywords using Jungle Scout API, and then have a place where I can prompt the agent or this automation and save a prompt on how I want to create my title, add my own modifications if I need to, and then generate the optimized title, then publish it. Publishing it can be done via Amazon APIs or via the Amazon UI. Then verifying whether the title actually went live or not. I had a few additional customizations. Show me basically a simple dashboard on what are the inputs and output data for each of these steps. Track execution history, and I basically have mentioned that I'm not a developer and I don't know how to use APIs. So you have to set this up for me, right? So using this prompt, you can use Claude, which most of you would be familiar with, which looks something like this. Use a specific prompt, which is typically prompt meant to detail out the tech specs on how to build the product. So I can send this as well over to you. And in this also include a specific point that the agent itself should figure out how to integrate these APIs, because I'm not a developer and I don't know how to do it. And then I pasted basically what the steps for automation were. And then once you give this to Claude, Claude basically creates a very detailed PRD. What is important here is it basically communicates the entire tech stack to be used and how to design it. I mean, you and I don't need to basically get into the details of this if you don't want to. But basically, these are the detailed specs that it writes down for to fetch our data, our own listing data using, let's say, Oxylabs API. It'll mention the exact documentation or the code from Oxylabs documentation. So like that, it will create like a detailed spec. Now this spec is what we will simply paste on this app called Replit. So this is the app that, I mean, typically you could use for building your own automation. So you can simply dump that document here, and I'll show you how I did that. So I built this app in over this ASIN title optimization in about 1.5 hours, about 5 days ago. So I just simply pasted that document and then gave this the prompt, and then it started building. The first version it built in 15 minutes. And then once it did, it will show you, this is how it will show you the preview. You can simply paste your ASIN, And once you start testing it, you will start seeing one or two, you'll start seeing some errors. So here I found one error. I mentioned that to the agent, and the agent started looked at what that issue was, fixed it. Then I saw there was some other. In my case, I knew Oxylab's documentation, so I gave that comment here. But you don't have to worry about that. You can just simply tell the Replit agent here that it's not working, and it will go ahead and try to fix it. So after a few messages, it went and basically finished building the app. And once the app was built, this is what the app looks like. So I'll just try to dump in an ASIN and show you how this app works. Now let's see whether this app will actually work here. So it'll go ahead and do this step-by-step iteration. So for the ASIN that I gave in, it used Oxylab's API to fetch the listing data. It's not showing the entire listing scrape data, but showing the high-level summary here. It generated a four-letter keyword using my listing. Then it went on Amazon and found some 48 search results. And this is happening as we speak right now. So I just dumped in this ASIN and it is scraping real time. Then it used Jungle Scout API and fetched about 273 keywords they're ranking on. And then it used the prompt and then generated this title. So this is the old title, this is the new title. And it has also explained why it has created a certain title like this. So there is license plate screws, 65,000 search volume, anti-theft, 3,600 search volume, and basically a couple of other things on what it found from competitors. It is also optimized for Cosmo and Rufus as well. Now, this is where I had dumped in all the best practices. This is a section that was created by Replit because we prompted it to in the detail spec. So here you can simply edit this and give your own custom instructions. The formatting is not very clear. If you want to revise the formatting, you can ask Replit to do so. So yeah, so that's largely how you can build your own app with Claude and Replit. Now, just a couple of other points. You don't have to manage the API yourself. You can simply ask Claude to read the documentation and give the spec and hand over that to Replit. And on Replit, Replit agent itself will guide you how to load the API keys and what to get from the respective, let's say, Jungle Scout or Oxylab's website. If you don't want to put too much effort to understand Jungle Scout or Oxylab's website, you can simply plug in, install a Chrome extension of Claude and chat on Claude and ask it to navigate the website and find you where to find that specific information. When you see the interface, you may, as you test it, you may see one or two things broken. You can ask the agent to fix it. If you want to make further iterations on the UI, one thing that works for me is I will take a screenshot of the app, take it to Claude, and then tell Claude that these are specific changes I want to make. Can you give me a prompt that will help me prompt with revisions that I can give it to Replit? And there it does a good job of systematically giving you a revised prompt just for the edits. And that is also a good way for you to think through and make further edits that you can take back to Replit agent. So yeah, so that's how you can build this. And there are many types of use cases you can build using this as your own automation. So these are some of them. You can forecast 12-month inventory. You can reprice, do pricing to increase your profitability. Look at your inventory levels, competitor pricing, your own margins. That is, let's say, loaded on Google Sheets somewhere. So yeah, so that's largely on how you can build your own automation. And if you need any of this information, please ping me on my email ID, ben@superfuel, and I'll be happy to help. And if you're not looking to build your own automation, this is what we do. So Superfuel, we have an AI agent which can automate a lot of your day-to-day tasks. It is connected to Seller Central, connects to your Google Sheets, scrape any information from Amazon, connect to Jungle Scout, Keepa. You can choose from a library of pre-built automations, or you can also custom build your own automation using this agent. So yeah, so that's largely it from my side. If you have any questions, do reach out. Happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. I would say this would be the fastest tutorial I've ever seen to build an app. So yeah, thanks for that.
No worries. Yeah, thanks, Akash.
So last but not the least, now we have James, who will talk about TikTok's halo effect on Amazon. So James, are you still up?
Yes, yeah, still here. Perfect. And thank you, Akash. So just some background. So James Schwinn, head of sales at Prime Team Agency. We're a holistic e-commerce agency primarily focused on combining social commerce and marketplace strategy across Amazon and TikTok Shop. Over the last year, we've expanded into generative engine optimization or GEO, which is essentially AI visibility. So I will be hitting on a couple aspects of the halo effect from TikTok Shop to Amazon, but as this is an AI panel, I will, I think, address that larger topic as I think there's a lot of eyeballs and attention on how should brands be thinking about GEO and shifting from Google to this kind of single search engine approach with Google to multi LLM model and how can we index there. So I will share my screen. I'm going to cover a couple things. So bear with me. So just in general, like what Geo is, just some data points here. So about a year ago, ChatGPT had 400 million users. Today, that's number has doubled and is now 800 million. This week, I believe effective Monday, ads were just rolled out. Earlier this month or late January, a new function was rolled out with their instant checkout for via Shopify, where they're not going to be taking 4%. So where we were a year ago with this versus the rate of development now, this is something that while SEO has been around for 20 plus years, the rate at which brands need to equip themselves to be poised for AI visibility and AI search is coming a lot faster. And all the LLMs are innovating and making these functions available. And also, consumer trends in general. I think consumer behavior, more and more people are shifting from Google to LLM searches and not just looking at chat, but cross-referencing against Perplexity or Gemini. So this is something that we're really trying to be at the forefront of and making sure that brands are set up. So I think what to start. Traditional SEO. Obviously, we're familiar with kind of the legacy platforms there and what kind of the core metrics are. Looking at kind of geo, obviously the platforms are different, and there's a lot more from a core metric standpoint. I think we want to look at things like answer inclusion, citations, and entity confidence. Essentially, the LLMs are looking for who is the topical authority. And while each one has their own kind of nuanced source material, whether it be Wiki or Reddit, the other development that's happening is the diversification of sources that they will be crawling from. So things like other publishers, also like influencers and just different social signals. And while a lot of this is very D2C oriented, the other development on top of all of this I've been citing is Amazon is now, so Amazon is looking to actively invest 50 billion into OpenAI. Obviously, Walmart is fully integrated with them now, and then Target is also in the rollout. So while a lot of these implications are very D2C and site focused, marketplaces are right behind. I would not be surprised that within the next 6+ months that we're going to see more instances of that at Amazon, maybe eventually coming around. So I think the big thing is how can we go from like search to answers? So we're looking less on like keywords, but understanding where are the queries and where are the prompts, and also like what does that kind of buying journey look like? I think just a couple of things. 50% of consumers are using AI-powered search currently, and that's going to continue to increase. There's a lot of search drop-off that is happening, and then obviously there's going to be lots of spend flowing through. So some of the foundational things that we're doing right now, some brands aren't even set up for SEO properly with their data structure and like the schema and the markup. So I think step one, getting that in place. Step two, then really looking at how can we get geo really set up here. So again, these are some things, again, what we had talked about earlier. With ads being checked up, the first thing we want to make sure is organically, can you be crawled? Does your content, existing assets kind of meet the schema markup requirements, especially as we kind of enter the paid era, which will be happening sooner than later. And just some of the flow from a customer journey standpoint. So it might start more broad in terms of like what brands of running shoes should brands consider, and then what should they prioritize based on like fit or comfort. And then obviously getting more specific recommendations there. So this is just kind of a sample of like what that could look like. And where this goes is there's a few different things to really consider. So I think making sure you have the entity authority that you have answer first content, so you're very direct. The data structure and schema are huge. One of the biggest pillars of Geo is actually the citation building. This is one that's an ongoing effort. So you might have a great PR footprint, you might have relationships there. I think as we kind of build those things out, you're going to start being able to understand from a traffic standpoint what content is getting the most traffic and hits, and how do you continue to kind of iterate and develop content that way. So this is really the first few steps from pillars are kind of like an initial first pass, but then over time, you'll really be getting into that citation building, and that's going to be more of the ongoing effort. So I'm going to shift over to TikTok. I just want to preview Geo because I think it's only right being that this is an AI panel. And I think one of the considerations, other ways that Prime Team is using AI is from a data visualization standpoint. So in certain instances, obviously if you're an Amazon agency, you're familiar with Amazon, we have source material. We have sources like Helium 10, Smart Scout. You can look obviously natively in Amazon and Product Opportunity Explorer for a bunch of like niche and kind of revenue intelligence. But one of the things that we're trying to do is rather than just do manual reporting, how can we make the reporting more holistic? How can we make it more visually engaging and more informative? Because we know there's more board and exec pressure than ever before on kind of channel level performance. So from a data standpoint, here's some examples in terms of like what we'll visualize. This is like a liver health supplement category. We're looking at what's the overall category size, who are the top players in there, getting into things like seasonal patterns, brand click share. I see product performance analysis. We're looking at units sold, price point, ratings, different ingredient components, pricing analysis. So I think this is one that we get into a lot of conversations. So if someone's more premium, like what segment from a pricing standpoint is owning the click share, if it's more entry level or more premium. Getting different search term insights here, where the fastest growing terms. So this is very encompassing, and this has been a huge unlock for our brand. So this is something that we're not doing on a weekly basis. This is probably more on a monthly to quarterly cadence that we're doing this, but this is something that has really, I think, pushed the agency forward in terms of what we're doing. And then the other piece, while we're kind of referencing AI, is on kind of AI search optimization. So if you're familiar with Amazon, I talked about chat earlier. Obviously, Cosmo and Rufus are part of this conversation. So obviously, we've kind of evolved from keyword matching to intent understanding. So while Rufus is more front end, Cosmo is more back end. So from some of the listing recommendations that we can actually visualize is understanding like what are some of the changes that should be made for the brands, specifically like with the different nodes. So different like query scenarios on the Rufus front, and then more tactically, if we want to get into like different like Q&A, or I think this is probably a little bit better from a priority matrix. Like what are the actionable things, and like what would be the actual impact from like a click-through rate and conversion rate standpoint. So the fact that we can actually score this out on both a front end and back end basis and kind of identify like what the expected outcome would be. This is another thing that we're really trying to do to really elevate our listing optimization process. Now, shifting back to TikTok in my final couple minutes here, and I'm covering a lot. I think Sean Riley, some of you might be familiar with him. Obviously, CEO of Dude Wipes. We're seeing just a massive halo effect from TikTok. It's a massive demand gen platform where Amazon becomes the demand capture platform. So rather than spend a ton on Meta and Google, brands are now using TikTok Shop to drive velocity. So this is an example of a brand that we worked with, and you can look at the specific product that we used. Actually, we're beef sticks, not beef jerky. So if you look at the month-on-month search volume specifically for that product in the branded terms, you can see that it grew materially actually within 1 month we kicked off in July and then saw it kind of go up obviously in August, September, October, and November. So there's a clear kind of correlation in terms of what is happening. Is there spillover kind of transpiring from TikTok to Amazon? The other thing that we can look at, so branded search volume is going to be kind of the first metric that you want to look at if you're doing TikTok. The next thing is new to brand performance. So what are we seeing from a new to brand customer base? You can actually pull that directly in Amazon via brand analytics, and then obviously with the search query performance report if you're looking for lift on branded search. So the reason why this is happening is TikTok Shop, while a highly engaging platform, it's really a discovery engine. So this is where creators are kind of like the conduit to consumer trust. So there's a lot of persona and underlying kind of emotional appeal here, where depending on the brand, they want to reach their target demo. They're seeing someone that looks like them, that might represent some of the interests and activities that they're doing or their lifestyle, interacting with a brand or product that they might not be familiar with. So TikTok is now able to kind of be, again, that conduit to trust. Now, when that happens, though, it might not be seen as like the safe purchase point. So with the household penetration that Amazon has, we're pricing upwards of 30% plus actually spill over to Amazon. And you can't get a perfect one-to-one attribution here, but we're seeing significant shift over to Amazon for the actual transaction. So while TikTok might be a viable revenue stream, we're actually seeing in any of our pro formas and models that we're developing for brands, we're actually incorporating a lift on Amazon in that to kind of model out that ROI. And I think conservatively, we're seeing anywhere from 7% to upwards of 15%, depending on the brand. So again, in a vacuum, TikTok is a great revenue stream, not the best profit center, but it will also elevate digital channels. The other thing, independent of Amazon and Marketplace, is actually supporting retail penetration. So we can actually do geo-targeted CPM campaigns. So let's say you have a rollout with Target in select markets. We can actually boost and run ads in those. Some brands don't even care if TikTok is necessarily profitable so much as it is going to drive in-store velocity. So there's kind of two ways to think about TikTok in terms of driving digital growth or even supporting your retail expansion efforts. And just from a playbook standpoint, I think a lot of the things that we're trying to recommend is having creator first distribution, less on the brand side. We look at accounts every single week. 80 to 90% of sales across the board are generated from affiliates. So this is very affiliate heavy. Creative velocity is a must. Like the top brands are getting hundreds, if not thousands, of new videos every single month. You cannot just put your toe in the water. You really need to jump in and commit. I think all creators and the top creators are commission oriented, right? They want to make money, they want to build a portfolio, but they also want to be compensated as a result of this. So I think having higher incentives, especially if you're an emerging brand, are a must. The gas that needs to be put on the fire is Spark ads. So you can use both GMV Max or Spark ads. You will not win on sampling alone. Sampling and sales are not linear. You need to really make sure you identify what's the top performing organic content and then catalyze that with Spark ads. And that's just going to give you a lot more consumer at bats and eyeballs. And as you kind of grow that, live shopping will become a bigger component. So that's not something you want to start with, but over time, and a lot of the more established brands like the Neuros, the Goalies, the Mary Roos of the world are doing a phenomenal job there. And I think just what I'll close in, because I think this is something a lot of agencies miss with TikTok Shop. I think there's kind of two tools and approaches that can really help scale TikTok Shop programs. So the first one is TikTok's CRM tool. So this is actually something that you can do access via Seller Center. And it's what I would define as TikTok's equivalent to Amazon Marketing Cloud. So what we can do is run custom promos to high intent audiences. So things like followers, not purchasers, recent purchasers, storefront visitors. And you can actually set a specific promotion and push that to them where there's going to be a higher intent. And then the other thing here is a guaranteed GMV program. And this is something where you're actually going to, rather than kind of limp along for 4 to 8 months to determine if you have a viable TikTok Shop program, within 90 days, you can basically have guaranteed 50,000 to 200,000 in sales, working with a smaller subset of top vetted creators by TikTok Shop with guaranteed content units and usage rights into perpetuity that have to continue to generate and push out content until you hit that threshold. So these are things that we're both incorporating and actually shifting from the traditional affiliate approach with a lot of our brands right now.
All right, perfect. So thank you everyone. Thanks all the panelists as well as the participant. I do feel this was a very on point webinar where we started with data analytics, then we looked at how to leverage AI in reviews, 3D modeling, product images and A+ content, then seasonal listing, how to create avatars, Then we also looked at how to build your own listing optimization app, and then finally generative engine optimization and TikTok. So yeah, thank you everyone. Right, we are planning to do this monthly. Right, so every month we'll host maybe on an AI topic or maybe something around automation, but similar topics every month. And the recording will also be available on SellerMate.ai's YouTube channel. Right, so please do like, subscribe. We have more than 20,000 followers on YouTube as well. So hopefully we'll get more visibility there. So thank you everyone. Really nice. I'll just take a quick screenshot. Maybe the marketing team will use somewhere. Yeah, but yeah, thank you everyone. Bye. Have a good day. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Akash.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
Akash.